It's your girl, Shawn, Southern erotic author of the Broken Soul series, host and unlicensed therapist of the Black Writer Therapy Podcast, a show dedicated to amplifying the voices, stories, and experiences of Black women writers with the audacity to thrive in an industry that hasn't always been so welcoming. Join me as I welcome a new writer friend every Thursday at 7:30 a.m. for candid conversations about writing, publishing, and finding harmony in their writing lives. You can stay in the know by following the podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Feel free to message me on either platform. I love hearing from my listeners. And if you like what you hear and would like to support the show, you can recommend this podcast to family and friends, leave a rating and or a review. Become a paid subscriber to the How Are You Healing Sis newsletter on Substack. Or you can join my Sunrise Tea crew by gifting me a box of my favorite tea. Welcome to this session of Black Writer Therapy. I wonder who's in my waiting room today. Hi, I'm here with Miss Karen J. Johnson, the author of, thank you, ma'am, The Truth About Love and Sex of Older Black Women. Yes. Miss Karen, thank you so much for agreeing to come and sit on my proverbial couch. I am excited to have you here.
I am excited to be here, and thank you so much for just offering up a seat on your proverbial couch.
I'm a good unlicensed therapist. I do what I can for our Black writing community.
Yes, I loved it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. It has to be done. I said somebody has to do it. It may as well be me.
That's right.
So we're going to jump right in because we have an hour and a half.
Okay.
And I have about 3 days worth of notes. Okay. So
let's get to it.
All right. First of all, I shared your bio already before the show, but there are a few things in your bio that I just want to pluck out and get some information from you on. So you are originally born on the south side of Chicago, but raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. So what made you stay in Tennessee after college and grad school?
Actually, it was backwards with me. I moved to Tennessee. I had already gone off to college, didn't finish, moved to Tennessee, and then began that journey much later. So I was a non-traditional student.
Oh, cool.
At Tennessee State University. And I went ahead and received my master's from Vanderbilt University. So I was a late bloomer, but I bloomed well.
And you bloomed beautifully. So
I bloomed well.
Exactly. That's awesome. Is Tennessee State an HBCU?
Tennessee State is an HBCU.
I thought so. I thought so.
Yes, we
I love that.
Illustrious Tennessee State University, home of the Tigers. Yeah.
There you go. Look, I went to a PWI, but when I tell you all of my friends who went to HBCUs, it is always the blah, 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 blah. And some really grandiose adjective, right? And then you get home of the.
Yes.
Can you just say that? Yes.
Less. Never expect less.
And I'm envious. I'm envious.
We're such a brother-sister type of family when it comes to HBCUs. We'll fight each other, but please don't let nobody else step in.
Okay. And I get that. And I'm just man, maybe I should have done that, but I'm an honest woman.
That's right.
I would not have made it on an HBCU campus.
Yeah.
And I know I wouldn't have made it because number one, I didn't own that many nice clothes.
You know what? There's a group for everyone. That is what makes HBCUs so special. because at the time we had so many different faces from so
Mm-hmm.
many different places, and all of those faces get honored. And that is what makes HBCUs. You have the ones who keep saying, I'm going back to Africa. You have the ones that are more ready to fight the fight and stand on the front line. You have the athletes. You just have a little bit of everything. It's like the best seasoning ever. And then we come
Wow.
together. So yeah, you would have fit in. You definitely would. With this, baby,
And
that
I've had this for 30 something years.
yeah, that shows that you have a unique style. That's all that's needed. That's all that's needed.
Oh my
You
gosh,
would
you're the
have found
first person to make me feel like I'd have been okay at an
you would have been
HBCU.
just fine because I wasn't. I was just me. I was a little bit of nerdy, a little bit of nervous. I'm an only child. I grew up as an only child.
Wow.
So the only reason that HBCU stuck in my mind for so long, one, I grew up in Chicago partly. And so I would see the older kids come home from summer and they would have on their jackets and their
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts. And I was just like, this is fabulous. And then my uncle went to Alcorn. He played
Gotcha.
basketball for them. And so he would come home with stories of the dance squad down there, the football team, the classes. He would show me his yearbook. And so it just stuck with me. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, if nothing else, if I don't do nothing else in the world, I'm going to an HBCU. And I was blessed to go to two. I originally started off at Grambling State University down in Grambling,
Not the Grambling State,
Grambling
Louisiana.
State University, GSU. I thought you knew. Yes, I was there. And then I didn't graduate. But I'm still, GSU is still in my blood. That black and gold
Mm-hmm.
runs strong. But then later in life, like I said, I ended up at the real TSU because we have a little rival with another TSU in the HBCU line. So we're not going to mention them.
God.
Now a fight's going to get started. Somebody somewhere is going to see this, be like, what she say? But we have
Exactly.
but we have so much love for each other. So yes, you
Yeah.
definitely would have fit in. I had friends on so many different levels doing so many different things. You would have fit right in.
Thank you. I am so happy to hear that. Not that I plan on ever going back to anybody's school to get anybody's degree, you, because you are
You
probably the only person who has said pretty fine at an HBCU because everybody else is like, you right,
know,
you
you
wouldn't
would
have.
have been fine. There is a crew and a crowd for you.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. So I'm going to move on because I want the audience, I want the listeners to really get a feel for you if they haven't seen any of your TikToks, if they haven't seen your Chocolate Cocaine Presents YouTube channel, right? Like I want them to get a feel for you. I just think you're so dope.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
I truly do think you're just so dope. Everything about you is a vibe. And so I'm going to go with Karma Eve, dope. Okay. The erotic writer, author, blogger, former erotic spoken word artist who has performed at adult themed events.
Yeah.
Speak on it, please,
So
ma'am.
I was always writing. Just growing up, I was always writing. I don't know how I felt Denzel Washington and Malcolm X, the movie. Plymouth Rock didn't land. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And that's how I feel about the
Mhm.
whole erotic field. Didn't intentionally land on erotica landed on me, but it turned out to be so beautiful. I started writing poetry, moved here to Nashville, and I met an award-winning poet who ended up being my mentor. And when D Revolution saw my work, the first thing he said was, "You need to spit on the mic." And I thought, what? And at that time, Def Poetry Jam was still out. And I
Mhm.
used that as a reference. I said, do you mean like Def Poetry Jam? He was like, yeah, you do. And he said, so memorize about three, four just to start off and then get on the mic. And I was like, this man is crazy. But I took his advice and it just went from there. I started speaking at, I think my first event was a private adult toy party. And so there was somebody there who was celebrating some occasion, but they were also had a section where they were selling adult toys. They had a representative there, and she was showing what all the machinery does.
Yes, indeed.
And so I was able to speak on that. And then somebody who saw me there invited me to something else. And then next thing you know, it snowballed. And so I would speak at adult toy parties, bachelorette parties. I have opened up for male reviews while the crowd is coming in and getting set up.
Right.
Guys are getting ready in the back. I'm on the mic just as a form of entertainment. I have spoken at swinger events. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a very interesting ride.
You do know I'm going to ask.
Yeah. I never
Go
participated.
ahead and spit on the mic. Oh no, I would never ask unless you were like, hey, and by the way, not only did I speak.
Yeah. I never, and people
No.
have asked me that before. So that's why I was getting to that point before you did. Because people are like, oh, so did you participate? I took my craft very seriously. And so I would tell people, I'm not there to join in. I'm just there to get things started. And
Right.
so that's how that would work. Now, unfortunately, I do not do erotic spoken word any longer. I just recently had somebody reach out. Every once in a while, somebody will reach out and say, hey, I'm having an event. I remember you. I've seen you perform. Can you come back through? And I just really feel like I'm no longer in that particular space. And so I no longer perform erotic poetry anymore. It takes a lot. People don't realize the energy and just the right tones and writing the right poem and presenting it properly and getting the audience engaged and making sure that you caught their attention and your message is clear. It's more to it than just getting on a mic. And a lot of people who haven't done it don't realize how much goes into that. And yeah, who knows? Maybe one day in the future, I'll pick it back up again. Maybe once in a while I'll do it. Maybe I'll go full throttle with it. But for right now, I'm good with it. I ended on a very good note. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. And I love erotic poetry.
Yeah.
I dabble in a bunch of different types of writing just because I need to. Sometimes I get stuck in my fiction writing, so I have to go into something else too. And so here lately, I've been writing what I call erotic haikus. And because I love a good haiku.
Yes. Yeah. I have someone somewhere in my trunk. Those are very good to do.
Yes, and because it teaches the economy of words and making every word matter, every syllable matter, and especially making sure that the space that's not being used is also saying what needs to be said.
Yes.
So when I've been just doing my little haikus and going through the exercises, I find that I don't ever necessarily reference any physicality or carnality when I am writing through the erotic at all, but it is still erotic to me.
Yes. But as long as it paints a picture and it leaves you feeling good and that reader can still get what you threw out, you don't need to. You can create, that's one thing about poetry, you can create your own rules as you go along. You still honor a lot of the old standard rules, but there are sometimes when you create your own, but it has to make sense at the end. That's all. It has to, I tell people it needs to evoke some type of feeling.
Yes.
And that's difficult too. You're writing that, and that's very difficult to make someone want to touch themselves or touch their lover or just be in that sexy, sensual space. And you have to be very careful, very intentional. It takes a lot to write erotica. I would consider it one of the hardest genres to write in.
And it's one of the, I think, because I write erotica. So you know that I write erotica. And I think it's one of the most misunderstood genres
Yes.
out here in any
Yes.
facet of the arts, right? It is one of these genres that people are just looking at it like, oh, that's so you're in like the porn industry. And I'm like,
I
erotica
got
and pornography
are two
are
different
two
things.
very different things.
I got a lot of, oh, so you a freak. So how I started wording it was, so Stephen King's a murderer.
Oh
Because
my.
how does that make sense, sir? How does that make sense? So Stephen King must be a murderer. If I'm a freak, he must be a murderer. And there's nothing wrong with being a freak. Let me just point that out. Some people embrace that lifestyle, they embrace that word, they embody that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. However, as an artist, a writer, that's not the only label that you want placed upon your body of work.
Right. That
And
part.
it's like, I'm telling you a story or I have a message, and that's all you got out of it. Okay. Stephen King needs to be doing time then.
Or not even be alive anymore because of the stuff he's written. Let us be
Exactly.
frank here. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I'm going to say that the next time. Uh,
Please.
so you do all that stuff that you write?
Yeah.
Does Stephen King do all the things that he does,
Exactly.
that he writes
Exactly.
about? Thank
Exactly.
you. Thank
Exactly.
you.
You're welcome.
Good night, Nurse Nickel, because I get it too. Okay. I get it
Like
from
I put
family.
all of this thought, and then you start, when you do become descriptive, you don't realize like how many words is it to be brown, beige, coffee color, mocha. And you,
Right.
I gotta find the right one, and that's what you got out of it, sir. I don't went
Thank
through
you.
shade after shade.
I'm over here looking at natural elements that can be brown so that I can compare it to the one of my I went to a poetry reading and okra played very heavily in her poetry books. And she gave me two okra pods and she said I could actually take them and plant the seeds and grow my own okra. Now I don't eat okra. Just let me put that out there.
I
My
don't need okra.
husband does.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need okra.
But and my mom, but I don't fool
Yeah.
with it. But I didn't realize that okra pods were so gorgeous. And so now I'm trying to figure out how am I going to use this? Because it's also very phallic. So how am I going to use this in
Yes.
my writing? And
Yes.
because that's what you have to do. You can't just keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
And I don't want to be one of these and the member. No, ma'am, I
Yes.
can never.
And I think that is part of what stopped me from doing erotic spoken word. Just real quick on my soapbox, I would go places, speak at an event, and someone would come up to me and they wouldn't look presentable. And they say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I write erotic poetry too." And I'm like, "Ma'am, sir, no, you don't. No, you don't let anybody see you. Don't say that out loud." Or they think, and I always say, because you can say pussy, dick, fuck does not make you an erotic poet.
Hello, somebody.
Just because you can say it does not make you an erotic poet, an erotic spoken word artist, an erotic author, an erotic writer. It does not make you that just because you can say those words and put them all in a sentence like gumbo. It doesn't work that way. I have studied other poets. I've studied white poets that do that
Yes.
because I want to see how do they do it? What feelings do I get when I look at their body of work? Where does my mind go? How do I feel afterwards? What do I think? How can I take the description that they've listed and make it where it's people that look like me? There have been
Mm-hmm.
times when I've been in Lowe's or that other, I can't, Lowe's or the other hardware stores, whatever, and I actually go look at the paint palettes because I want to see, what do they call brown? What do they
Mm-hmm.
call black? Is there a honeydew brown? Is there a succulent opal black? Or I don't,
Right.
sometimes you see words and maybe one word can, that's your whole poem.
Yes.
You have to study other people. You have to get out of sometimes just the genre itself of erotica and look at something else and again see how can I infuse that into what I do. And so it's more to it than what people think. And it's also about presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if you have on jeans, but I don't want to see you dirty trying to get me sexy.
Okay.
I don't want to see your hair.
Unless that's my kink thing, right? Unless that's my
Unless
kink.
that's my kink thing. However, when you're at a general, open type of spoken word place, you need to make sure that you just look presentable. And
Mm-hmm.
presentable doesn't necessarily mean you have on designer clothes and high heels but just look like I want to make love to this man afterwards. I want to get with this after whoever or whatever. But I don't want you looking like you just picked your clothes up off the floor and ran out the door and now you on a
Because it is a presentation.
Your words are the bonus.
Oh, I love that.
It's
I'm writing that
visual
down.
and your words are the bonus. Because what do you say when you see somebody get on the mic? Oh, they look good. I wonder what he's got to say. And I'm gonna tell you one thing that's very important that every erotic artist needs to hear. You need to figure out what's important, your craft or the bodies that you're trying to catch at night at the end of the show.
Wow.
You need to figure out and determine. That's why I could do a lot of these shows. I could go to a swingers event, see people having sex, see people walking around naked, see people openly flirting with one another, and go home and had not touched anybody besides a general handshake and a general hug or a general kiss on the cheek.
Because it is the craft that matters
It's
to
my
you.
craft and my reputation that matters. Yeah. Because do you want, and the name I use, that's why it's on the screen, is Karma Eve. So do you want Karma Eve, the erotic spoken word artist at your show? Or are you calling Karma Eve because you know at the end of the night you got to hit that?
Oh, wow. And see, these are things I think that when people try and associate eroticism with the artist who actually performed them or produced them, that they are not understanding there's a separation in most cases. Yes. Erotic artist of any modality, it is art for them. It is not a lifestyle. It is art.
It is art. It is so much art into it. And if you're serious about your craft, you are going to be able to say, I did it. I made people feel a certain way. I'm glad that guy flirted with me at the end of the night because I did my job, but I don't have to go home with him or even do it out or wherever you're doing it. You don't have to do that. I'm thankful that I can make people now want to go home and have sex or at least have a conversation about it.
Yes. Or at least expect pleasure in their lives.
Some of the things I performed were very funny. I had a poem called Thundercat, and I always told everybody in the beginning of the poem before I started, I said, first of all, I know some of you have never seen me before. This may be your first time seeing me, but I guarantee you by the end of this poem, you'll be able to join in with me. And at the end of the poem, I did the traditional from the cartoon Thundercat, to have a whole club do that back with you. There was one poem I had, it was just titled Fuck. And it was talking about all the ways that we could do it and how good I was at it. So there were some things that were funny and could make you laugh. And then there were some things that I would perform that I wanted you to feel sensual. I wanted you to be able to connect with yourself. And then if you had somebody to take that connection from self and share it with your mate. And there were some poems that would have a lesson to it. While we're out here having sex and being adults, you guys are sometimes afraid to have these conversations with each other, but you have children. And if you're not having a conversation with another adult who's experienced it, who's talking to your children? And so I always had intention behind what I said. And sometimes some poets just get on the mic and that's what they do. I've been to recent poet events and I'm disappointed at some, not all. I really try not to blanket anything. I only blanket one thing, and we'll probably talk about that.
Okay.
When it comes to poetry and performance and professionalism, some people, especially the younger generation, they're constantly on their phone. They're looking down. They're not making that eye contact with the audience. They're trying to scroll to the next one. And they're trying to come up with so many of them so quickly that it doesn't give quality. It just gives quantity.
Yep.
And so if you're going to be any type of spoken word artist, it doesn't just have to be erotica. It could be what's going on in the world. It could be about Palestine. It could be about Russia and Ukraine. It could be about the homeless and veterans. It could be about your next door neighbor. It could be about your baby mama. It doesn't matter. You are the town crier. And you have a responsibility because your mouth, your words are going out into the community. And you have to speak with intention. And a lot of young people don't know that. And they just get on the mic because they can, because I wrote this and hold on 1 minute, let me scroll to my next one. And so tonight I'm talking about, no, connect with me, make me see you.
Yeah.
Because in the meantime, while you doing this, I may be doing it on my own and talking to my friend and asking the bartender for another drink because you were not forcing me just with your words and your presence to watch you.
Yeah. To give you the attention. Yeah.
That you deserve because you doing the same thing the rest of us doing. And then you're like, well, I didn't catch your message. I thought it had a rhythm to it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But I didn't catch your message. So we have to speak with intention and remember who we are to the community. We're town criers. We're the ones that are trying to make a difference. Poetry was about revolution and free speech.
Yep.
What are you speaking? What are you saying when you get on that mic? And that's how I took it, and that's why I felt that my craft was so important, and that's why no event I've ever gone to, nobody can say she gave good head or I hit that. No, sir, because I would do what I had to do, mix and mingle a little bit. I see it's getting a little hot in here. I'm out. If y'all need, you know where to find me, because it's also about my reputation. And that's why to this day, I haven't performed since 2015. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, somebody hit me up and asked me to do an event that they were having. And I get that because people know I was quality.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what that's about for me. So that's what the spoken word world was for me. It was open, welcoming. I love this. I'm in another space right now. And I thank you for being in this space with me.
Yes.
But I
wish I would have had the opportunity to see you, to hear you, because like just talking with you, it's almost like you speak in poetic verse. There's a cadence and rhythm to what you say.
I can give you a piece. I do keep poems on my phone.
27%. Any guesses what that number means? Is it the number of people in the US that listen to podcasts? Actually, that number is 24% in 2017. That number has increased exponentially up to 64% in March of 2023. Podcasting continues to be on the rise. It is the place to be. Only 27% of podcasts are hosted by women. Only 27%. Are you as shocked as I was? Just think of all the voices we are missing. Is your voice one of those? Is there a topic you keep thinking about? A message needs to be shared? guests who you want to interview. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you know that you want to help others get to know you better and know what you do. Podcasting is the way to do it. This is why I founded Authentic Connections Network, a podcast network that is so much more than you'd imagine. We take the tech and stress out of podcasting. We give you the power of a network, the power of community, of education around podcasting, of coaching, individualized supports, and all the other incredible women breaking through and changing the landscape of podcasting. Isn't it time you realize your dream? We believe strongly in our creators. We believe in Shawn and in Black Writers Therapy. There are conversations that need to happen, stories that need to be told. Authentic Connection Network is the place for them. Follow us on Instagram at 37by27. Comment the word amplify on any of our posts or DM it if that feels better to you. I want to learn more about you and your goals and how maybe you could be part of Authentic Connections.
And I haven't done this in a long time, so I can't face you eye to eye, but if you don't mind, I'll give you like a little piece.
Oh my God, yes.
It's gentle.
Yes.
And it's right because here in Nashville it's raining. So this poem is titled Rain in the Valley.
It's raining here too in South Carolina, right in Columbia. So
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. I imagine myself making love to you as music in the background mimics what we do. Room on dark with just one candle lit and me taking you in and getting all I can get. Wrapping my arms and legs around you, making us into one and realizing we're not stopping until the morning sun. Our love is like lightning, piercing the soul, knowing nothing we do is put on hold. You got me blazing on high, feeling sexy from your sensuous charm as you use your tool of maleness like an illegal firearm. Us making love is like poetry. It's poetic. It's art we create when we're slippery wet. See, there's rain in the valley and thunder above. It's earth shattering when we're making love. And that's just the first.
I know my poetry reading etiquette. I know. That's lovely.
Yeah. Thank you. And I just wanted, when I wrote that, oh my God, I can't even tell you how old that is. But I just wanted to feel closeness as a couple, as two people. And it's all about us in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Like I close my eyes when I'm listening, and literally all I'm envisioning is me and my husband and rain and thunder and like beauty and the intimacy of it. It's very beautiful. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for allowing me to.
No, look, this is your show. This is your session. I'm just your unlicensed therapist. You can get whatever you need off your chest.
So much. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost like done with the greeting. I just want to know, just hear a little bit from you. You say your goal is to promote positive and mature conversations about sex and encourage sexual self-empowerment within the Black community because you believe that sexual knowledge is power. Now that, I'm not going to front. That stuck me like right here because it resonates so 100% with my platform and with my own values, and not just about sexual power, but the power of knowing the fullness of yourself as not only sexual, but as an erotic being, because there is this whole sense of eroticism in the spiritual world that people seem to forget about because unfortunately it's been so perversed by what I call the colonizers have perversed so much of what is the spiritual practice of eroticism and the empowering nature of owning your sexuality. So when I read that, I was like, I knew there was a reason I was vibing with this woman. So talk to me about that.
What I tell people, you have updated your phone more times than you've updated your sexual knowledge. You forget who you are sexually, sensually as a being, because there's so much access to sex.
Mm-hmm.
I have my phone right here. If you ask me to, we can go to a porn site and we can both sit and watch. Or I could just text you and say, girl, look at this. But
Mm-hmm.
we have lost the connection of self sexually. We are also still carrying, many of us, of course, I try not to blanket once again, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us still carrying the rules of our bodies and sex from Big Mama. But what we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize is that Big Mama got that from her mama, who got that from maybe an enslaved woman, where her sex was being stolen and she wasn't able to sit comfortably in her femininity, in her womanhood, and in her sexualness, if I can use that as a word. So
Anytime.
we're passed on generation after generation telling young women, you just fast. Go sit down somewhere. Close your legs. You out here being boy crazy.
Stop being womanish. Stop being
Not
omnish.
being,
All of
yes,
that.
yes, yes. And we haven't been allowed to properly sit in our sexuality and be able to say, I like when a man does this, or I like when a woman does this. I'm not leaving out, and I guess I'm gonna clear that up now. I speak traditionally male woman. It's not because I'm not a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. It's because that's the life that I live. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
to exclude anyone. So if anyone sees it, why she always say that? It's because I deal with men.
Okay. That part.
I don't want anybody to think that she just left us out. So it rolls off the tongue a little bit easy.
Mm-hmm.
This is for any and everyone.
Yeah.
We don't get a chance to sit in our sexuality and be able to say, I like when a woman does this to me, without somebody going, you nasty, you like that. We don't get a chance to sit in our sexuality when we can say, I like when my man does this to me. We're constantly being sexually judgmental of other people's habits. That happens in
Well,
the privacy of their own home.
and why we caring? Why do we
Why
care
do
what's
we
going
care?
on in their bedroom?
But you also have to educate yourself, because maybe something that they're doing you may enjoy, but Big Mama always told you to do it this way or do it that way. And she may not have told you at all, depending on who your Big Mama was.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
You're just going off of the basics. But I just want us as a Black community, and the reason I say Black, because I had somebody ask me, why didn't you include other races? Because one, I have to work with what I know. And two, I know what's happening in this backyard.
Thank you. Okay.
I've done, like I said, a variety of different shows in front of a variety of different people. And the first thing somebody walks up to me and says after a show, oh my God, thank you so very much for saying that. I thought my feelings were wrong. I thought the things that I was feeling was wrong, or I shouldn't have been feeling that way. Or thank you for saying that, because I've been having thoughts and I didn't know how to say it.
Uh-huh.
And you just work some things out in my head now, how I can bring this to my mate. We just need to have conversations.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we need to
Yes.
be non-judgmental and open. And I always tell everybody, consent.
Yes.
Miss Ellie, you can bring something to me, and I may not know what it is or agree to it, but if you ask me if it's okay, can we try this? Okay, let's try
Mm-hmm.
it. If I don't like it, I need for you to stop. And you need to honor that. Don't
Yeah.
tell me what you think. I think you can still do it. Let's just have some open conversations. Let's do it with consent. And let's see how else we can do this, and how, without it being such,
Right.
where is the sensuality? Where's the
Oh, girl.
connectivity? Where
Okay.
is the, let's have a
Look, for
conversation
those of you
in
who are
the dark.
listening, what you just missed was without it being, and it was, where is the sensuality? Look, I'm driving that point home because that's important. It can't just always be.
It can't always be jackrabbit sex.
Exactly, because what the
And
world.
don't get me wrong, there are times when that's what your body is craving. But every single time,
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I would like to keep my walls intact. No.
Oh, sometimes you want it so slow, you don't know how. You're driving yourself crazy.
There.
Sometimes you don't even want sex. You want to get as close to it as possible
Without
being penetrated.
Oh my Lord.
And so I just want to have conversations. I posted maybe 2 days ago, what is intimacy to you? And there's no right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single woman. So if I meet a man and we become intimate, what he used on his last 2, 3, 5 women may not work with me. So he needs to figure out, what are my intimacy likes? Just like I need to figure out what his are.
Mm-hmm.
And just a simple, do you like this? Do you like that? What do you want me to do? Solves all of that. Don't naturally assume, because we're not animals. So don't naturally assume that what you're doing, I'm going to like.
And don't be afraid to ask and be told, you know what, this isn't working for me, but how about we try it like this? Like, you have to be open.
Rejection.
Mm-mm.
She just doesn't like that, or he just doesn't like that. Maybe he don't like you slamming up and down on him like that. That may not feel good to his penis.
Right. So why not just be more open, more forthcoming, and it should be fun. If it's not fun, I love the idea of play. Like, it should be play in all aspects. And if you are not having fun and you can't laugh at yourself in the process, then do some work. Go do the internal work so that what you are engaging in physically doesn't screw you up mentally.
And you may be with the wrong person. And that's nothing, it's not a rejection to that person, but I can think of someone right off the top of my head. I'm going to share this. We had an intimate moment and we just did not, for me, it wasn't connecting, but I like the person. So that person is now a friend of mine, but I know that we weren't sexually compatible.
And that's a thing. That is not a kind of, that's a quick way to just say, no, that is a whole thing that people need to be aware of. Like, you can be sexually incompatible.
And you have to be mature, not just sexually mature, but just mature overall. Because I've never told this man, I ain't like the way you did it. I just didn't like it. I'm never going to do that. Why would I hurt somebody in that way? For all I know, he came out of something that I did. But I just realized it wasn't, the feels weren't there for me. I'm not interested in doing it again. But this person is my friend. And we get along, and we've gotten along. They ain't never been a day that we did not get along. That particular event just did not work for us. And that's okay. So you may be with the wrong person at that type of fun if you can't make that type of connection. And I'll be honest with you, I'm more of a spiritual lover. That
there you go.
Has to be, we have to feel like we are just rising above the earth and we're out in the galaxy and we're swimming amongst the stars and we're taking the bits of whatever's floating in the planet and we're just energizing ourselves and with each other, and it just feels so heavenly. And then when we finish at the end, we're still okay, but we had that exchange. And that's why you also got to watch who you're exchanging your energy with.
Okay, we are going to get to that. Look, I said we are going to get to that. Look, I'm up here trying to stay on task. My word.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay. Let me get me some tea. Hold on.
Yes. Energy exchange is very important. Very important.
Oh,
very important.
Which is why don't go engaging. I have 3 daughters.
Oh, yeah.
I have 3 daughters. And I'm always saying, look, man, sex is not just sex. You are a vessel. And when a man, or if you are with another woman, or whatever the case is, however you're getting down,
yes,
you are exchanging stuff. And it's not just bodily fluids, okay? And so you have to be careful, because every body that has been with that body has now been with your body. And more importantly, everybody's energy.
Yeah.
If this person hadn't done any cleansing, energetic cleansing,
knowledge of self, if they are not conscious, now,
and you are going to take it on, and then you're going to be like, wait, why am I feeling X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. Why do I feel depressed? Why am I angry?
This isn't me.
Yes.
You have to be careful.
You have to be very careful. And I will say the older generation told us, but they didn't fully explain to us, because I always heard the word soul tie. When that couple is fighting and they're the Hellcats of the neighborhood and they're constantly fighting. She got a black eye. He has something that been busted over his head. They've been fighting forever. And people are like, why don't they just break up? The police keep coming to the house. The ambulance was there last week. They almost got kicked out. It's always confusion and hell.
They can't.
They're soul tied. But our grandparents didn't explain 100% what soul tied was and
how they got there.
And
they didn't say, and this is how they got there.
Yes.
So you be careful so you don't get jacked up like that.
Everything that looks good is not good. Because I have some fine brothers, but baby, come to find out you need therapy, so you cannot be up in me.
Okay, depositing your crazy. I got my own crazy.
My own. And I've been keeping under control.
Okay. So you leave your crazy over there. And that's the thing. Having the open conversations about not only the physicality of sex and how the ins and outs and how it works, and which is the whole that's not going to really mess you up in the first round, right? So it's more than that. It is more the mechanics. Yeah. And if you're not talking about the emotional, the spiritual, the mental aspects of sex, sexuality, intimacy, all the things, then you're not talking about sex. You are talking about mechanics.
And
you're talking about procreation. You're talking about
back to knowing self.
Exactly.
And that's why sexual knowledge is power.
Oh, stop it, because I just got it. I just got that. Sexual knowledge of self is power.
Because sexual knowledge, a lot falls under that umbrella. I have to know myself. And plus I need to know, I don't know, what's going on in the adult toy world, or what the new lube is, or what that move is and what it does for my body and my mate's body. And so sexual knowledge, or sometimes we hear of new genders that have popped up, and we need to be respectful of those genders, or what somebody feels they are. And so you have to know. So sexual knowledge under that umbrella is a lot of things, but the most important things over all of that is you have to know sexual self.
Yeah.
Sexual self. So I know I'm a single woman. I can go out here and be with anybody. I'm not a bad looking woman. I'm an intelligent woman. I have my own place. You know what I'm saying? There's some green flags over here with me. You can take me anywhere. I'm a great conversationalist. Hey, I'm selling myself here.
Okay. Look, and she said, I'm not a bad looking woman. Y'all, she gorgeous. Like, for real. She gorgeous. And she up here like, bad looking woman. I got my own place. I'm single. I can do this, that, and the third.
So I can be out here. I call it, like Anna Ross's daughter, Tracy Ellis Ross said, a wheel of lovers.
Okay, you
I
could.
can have a wheel of lovers, but I choose not to because each lover comes with some type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And me having a wheel of lovers, that would be fabulous if everyone was healthy
Yeah.
and emotionally mature and sexually
Mm-hmm.
mature and knew and I know what I want sexually. And I'm going to say right off, that's the best part about that's one of the best things about being an older woman, an older Black woman for sure. You know exactly what you want sexually. We're not going to get into all the other life things. But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to your body and sex and knowing, you, baby, you done been up and down the hill and you done finally reached that point on the mountain where you say, wait a minute. I know exactly what I want now, and don't play with me.
Okay. Okay. And look,
I did
and
not
if you
come to play.
can't do for me what I need doing, and we are in a monogamous relationship, no, I'm not going to walk out and do other things because I'm not built that way personally. Ella ain't built that
Right,
way. But you
right.
can bet your bottom dollar and all the money in your account, I'm going to take care of
Yes,
me
yes.
because sexual health is a part of my overall health. If I am not sexually satisfied, if I am not sexually happy, if I am not sexually fulfilled, then it is going to eat away at my physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health.
Sexual health is sexual wealth.
Did y'all hear that? Sexual health is
is
sexual
wealth.
wealth.
That's money in the bank automatically. If you're fulfilled sexually, everything else falls into place. You just listed it. If I'm happy sexually, think about your money is cool, you wake up happy, you're with someone, but think of the friend who isn't and how she's been behaving. And then one day she calls you, she like, girl, what's up? And you like,
you got some, didn't you? That's the first thing. Did you get some? It must have was good.
because
That's the first thing I'm gonna ask.
her mood went up, she's happy. Look, she can plan the rest of her life now. She gonna get it. Let me see what I'm gonna do now. Go back to school and get that degree. Let me see.
Okay. But it can't just be that mediocre. Oh, I hit something because it has to be like, oh, what you described, right? I'm floating in the ether. I'm swimming in the stars, right? That energy exchange was perfect.
And let me say, because we're older women, that we have lived through, some of us probably started having sex in the mid to late 80s, depending on how old you are. We've lived through the 90s and early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you don't have to be seriously committed with someone to have that type of sexual behavior and activity happen for you. Mm-hmm. Because back in the day, we was having really good sex. Now, I know some people may, but let's talk about the whole HBCU experience. You want to talk about the whole HBCU experience? We was all on one campus. We were on one campus. At the time, we didn't have internet. We didn't have computers. The only people who had computers at the time were the administrators. And if you were in what's that major, CIT, computer information.
Yeah, CST or whatever.
Yeah. Those were the only people on campus that had computers. So we definitely did not have cell phones or no type of phone you could carry around. You had to connect with everybody that you was messing around with. And if you were seeing 2 or 3 people at one time, guess what? Y'all had to sit down and hold the conversation and talk.
Okay. I know we had the pagers, right? I did have a pager.
Yeah. And then after a while, it was like, you got to find a phone. But you still had to call. And you still had to connect. And we still had to have conversations because that's all you had. We didn't have any other distractions.
No. And you're not sliding up in nobody's DM saying what you're doing. No, you're not
And
saying, no, you're just talking.
if you went to somebody's house, you went with intention and purpose. And
Yes.
y'all sat out on that porch. How many hours did you sit out on the porch? How many hours did somebody come and pick you up and y'all go riding around in the car listening to music? Y'all finally got to that place in the park. Y'all just sat and listened to music and talked. How many times, like I remember being at Grambling and all of our friends would come over. Me and my cousin had the apartment off campus, and all of our friends would come over. We literally would just lay out. There'd be people on our floor, people on the couch.
Yep.
Somebody would bring some snacks, somebody would bring something to drink, and we would all just talk and share what we thought and knew we were going to be doing in the future. That's how you connected with people.
Yes.
So when it came time to lay down with somebody, y'all had already forged that bond and connection because you knew this brother was planning on taking over the world and you was taking over the world too. So y'all already knew. Now you can lay down with each other and you just
get to those heights because you've spent and invested that time. You've invested energy into each other.
Nowadays, you got somebody WYD.
Because they saw you on the internet.
And this brother won't even write out a full sentence for me.
Okay, so I don't even know if you're literate.
I had to tell a gentleman last year, I had to tell two gentlemen last year at the beginning of the year, you are no longer obligated to text me. I know that you're probably a great person, but you're no longer obligated to text me. And the reason I said that is because that's all we do is text. You want to text me how much you miss me. You want to text me. You act like we're 12 years old and our parents got to take us to the skating rink or to the mall. Bro, you got a car, I got a car. Just make a plan and roll with it. Yeah. And as an older woman who does not mind standing in her feminine space, I'm all about it. I love when a man leads. Now, of course, you have to be the right man and you have to be leading me in the right direction. But I love when a man calls and says, hey, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know what your weekend looks like, but I would love to get together Friday night or Saturday afternoon for X, Y, and Z. Are you available? And I love when a man calls because I love the sound of a man's voice.
Okay.
I'm tired of y'all texting like we're 15, 16 years old in high school.
I want to hear you.
Class. I want to hear you. I'm an older woman. And your voice is a huge turn on.
So you don't even have to touch. And see, I don't think men our age get that. Like, it's not about the touch. It's not about, no, you could give me a look.
You pick up your phone. Now, you are married. I get that. But
yes, I am.
Let your husband call you and say, hey, baby, how you doing? I'm fine. I'm fine now.
You see this look on my face?
I'm fine now, baby.
Because when it happens, it is, hey.
Yes.
Hey,
and all of a sudden, you're a woman. All of a sudden, you're soft. All of a sudden, you're just ready to do whatever he says. Baby, I need for you to pick up some toilet paper, some paper towels.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Okay, darling, I'm going to get it.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. Because you want that connection and you want to hear. The phone does not, all that texting does not allow us to connect. So who am I connected with? As a single woman, who am I connected with? Because everybody want to text electronically. I'm connected to my phone.
Wow.
I'm just connected to my phone. Because if you notice that somebody lose their phone, misplace your phone. Or next time you're in a room full of people, take your girlfriend's phone without her looking and watch how she freaks out. Oh my God, where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Oh, yeah.
We don't have that connection with people no more.
That's sad. I don't want to be sad.
And men are falling into the same behavior because there are some men that I've talked to be like, I don't like talking on the phone. Dang, that's how you get your mat on, bruh.
What are you doing? And who are you talking to that you get away with that? Because obviously it ain't a grown woman.
You are not getting your Mac on through text.
And if you are,
it's not going to go anywhere. It never goes anywhere.
because you can't connect that way.
And so goes back to knowing who you are and knowing what your needs are sexually, sensually. I know I need somebody to call me. Now, you ain't got to call me every day, all day. You work, I work. I'm doing side things. You're doing side things. I get it. But that phone call, ooh,
Okay. All right. We like that little personal summer moment. We love it. We're here for it.
yes.
I'm going to go ahead on and get into my favorite question. I'm 8 years late. I don't even, Lord, okay. How are you healing today?
I'm healing very well. I am loving the space that I'm in. I am very intentional. Every month I tell people, don't make your smartphone a dumb phone. So every month I have an iPhone. So those who have an iPhone, and I'm not saying that people with Androids don't have it, but I just can relate better knowing what I'm talking about for sure with an iPhone. So I have an iPhone. In the iPhone, there's the note section. I'm sure Android people have that note section as well. But in my note section, I have created a folder that says Being a Goddess. Yes, ma'am. I told you I'm intentional. So every month I create what my personal goals are for the month. And that covers money goals. It covers my savers. It covers my mind, my body, my soul. I have a morning routine, an afternoon routine, an evening routine. I have affirmations and I have prayers. I also have my required reading because part of my mind goals are to read 5 to 10 pages a day or listen to an Audible. And so I'm healing just fine.
Yeah, you are.
And I go to therapy. I know my therapist probably wonder why she here. My therapist has literally told me, you ain't got no real problems. I ain't got no real problems.
Me. I've had therapists say, look, you're the most self-aware woman I know. What do you need to talk about? I don't know. I just like talking to people.
For maintenance.
Maintenance. I need to maintain.
And I told my therapist, I said, if you would stop having me as your client and just give me your phone number, then I could just call you and we could be cool.
That part. Thank you for joining us on the Black Writer Therapy Podcast. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and download our episodes. To my aspiring writers, remember, this is a journey, and every rewrite takes you closer to where you desire to be. And our industry allies, let's keep those gates open, shall we? The Black Writer Therapy Podcast is accepting requests for affinity collaborative partnerships. Contact Vicki Binkley Brown if your company or organization is interested in participating. I'm Shawn, host and unlicensed therapist of the Black Writer Therapy Podcast, reminding you to be kindest to yourself first, always and in all ways. Until next week. In a world where shadows dance and secrets lurk, comes an unforgettable saga of broken souls, written by Shawn. Get ready to embark on a gripping journey through time, a dark Southern coming-of-age saga that spans over 30 years. Nothing is as it seems. With every turn of the page, secrets unravel, revealing a web of intrigue that will leave you breathless. Breaking is the easy part. Having the courage to look into the mirror of your souls, allowing yourself to be consecrated, to rise harmoniously in alignment with self and the universe, that's the hard part. Join John and Vivian on this unforgettable journey where shattered souls rise courage is tested and destinies are forged. The Broken Soul series by Shawn, a gripping 4-book masterpiece that will keep you captivated till the very end. Don't miss your chance to experience this compelling tale of love, loss, and redemption. Purchase your copy now and be prepared to have your soul shattered. Because sometimes the darkest paths lead to the brightest light.